Hello, hello. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the damn country. I'm Bankshift Chad as usual, and we've got the normal cast and crew of McTaggart and Crosby and Wickman in the house, but we've got a special guest, Mr. Crawford from Virginia is for Lowriders. Dude, I have to tell you, I love your channel, and we're going to talk a bunch about it tonight, as well as some of the weird projects that you're into, and so are we. So I think it's perfect. And Wickman even did a special kind of deal for tonight that we'll show here in a little bit as well. That's pretty cool. You sent me that in a message, didn't you, on Messenger there, Wickman?
I don't know, did I?
Or did you send it to me in a text?
I should have probably messaged you, or let me look.
Yeah, send it to me on Messenger. I think you sent it to me on text, actually. But
I'm just kind of amazed that you used Wickman and Cool in the same sentence.
That's true. That is true. So if you are not familiar with Virginia's for Lowriders on YouTube, then you need to go out and check it out for sure. So Crawford has some cool projects we'll talk about in more detail. But one of my favorite things about Crawford is that he is constantly talking about his ADD and how it makes him turn corners and go different ways and get focused on little things. And I have no idea what that is.
It's pretty bad.
That is the story of this podcast, honestly. Like, we should have called this We All Have ADD. Because no matter what we plan on talking about, we might get one or two of the things, and then it all goes to hell, and we get on a tangent. And
whatever. Don't be surprised.
A good name at the time. We just used it. Whatever.
It's fine. It's
arbitrary.
I talk about it's going to probably happen about maybe 35% of the time.
Yes, that is true. So I want to say hi to everybody in the chat, Lycan and Barn. For sure. Thanks for joining us, Neil. the original minion of all minions. We appreciate you guys being here. Bill's in the house. Lycan, I talked to another blind man today. Talked to Mr. Parker himself earlier, and we were talking about his latest project. So, just so everybody knows this is coming, just a little teaser. The world's fastest blind man may be participating in a drag and drive very, very, very soon.
Cool.
So,
Really?
yes, which is going to be awesome. And Crawford sitting here going, the world's fastest blind man. Yeah, our buddy Dan Parker is legit the world's fastest blind man. He's been like 210 miles an hour in a Corvette. He is 100% blind. Has a GPS navigation system that's audible. The Corvette that he drives, he built himself as well, which is awesome. Insane. He's a machinist and stuff. It's crazy. The dude is way more talented with no sight than the rest of us are with sight. So it's a pretty cool deal. So it's going to be fun. Okay, so I wanted to tell everybody. So the topic tonight, the reason that we got Crawford on is like weird builds. And when I say weird, not that the platform necessarily is odd, but just people are doing things with them that are different than maybe you expect, right? So we're all used to that, right? I mean, I've built a bunch of oddball stuff. McTaggart is in love with oddball Mopars because of the era. Yeah, Crosby's in front of a damn Ranchero and has built all the oddball stuff known to man. And then there's Wickman, who on a daily basis sends me something from Marketplace that nobody in their right mind should want. And yet he's all over it. If, like, we all talk about if you won the big lottery, like what you would do if you won the big lotto. I know I would buy lots of stuff and I would give lots of money away and help a lot of charitable things because it's fun and all those things. Wickman would be the guy who 5 years later is completely broke, but has 100 acres that is wall to wall with tons of weirdo crap. It would be awesome.
I know exactly what he would do. There is a several 100-acre junkyard in Peyton, Colorado, and it's high desert. Just go minimal rust, minimal wear, minimal heat, all of it. The ideal project source. He would literally walk into the guy's front door with a blank check in his hand, a big ass smile on his face. He goes, "You're retired."
No, I want to start my own. I want to start off with like a used rocket from SpaceX just to put in the front yard, just to make people think there's a crash missile.
What medicine are you on tonight for that one? Jesus, I couldn't have that up if I tried.
Wickman is the only one I know that would get divorced when he got a whole bunch of money, and she wouldn't want any of it. She just wanted to go the other direction.
That's true.
Oh, she would want some of them. But it's kind of like,
I'm out.
Buy the bus ticket, at least.
Enough to where she can just sit at home and watch social media and see what kind of stupid shit I'm up to.
That's true. She would. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Chad, I sent you those pictures.
Oh, nice. Okay, good deal.
I was going to say you should have my pictures too. I sent those in.
Yes, I got yours. So, all right. So, in honor of your project, Crawford, which for the people watching at home who are not familiar yet, tell them about your current project, and we'll get into some of your past ones here shortly. But tell us about the first one while I share these a couple of these pictures here that Wickman.
The current one is a 87 Caprice that I paid $500 for, got it running out of some guy's backyard and drove it out of the woods. I fully intended on building a rat rod, lowrider. I wanted it to be something that looked like you built it in the early 90s and then parked it in the woods. I wanted it to look like it drove out of the woods, kind of like a Christine, just rough. You wouldn't want to approach it in the daytime or nighttime because it's kind of scary looking. And then I've had it for quite a while, and I've always wanted to body drop it because the body doesn't lay flat. So that's what I'm currently in the process of doing, is getting it to lay flat.
And for those of you that are watching at home and you're like, wait, what is he talking about? Which, by the way, Wickman, these are great. So Wickman does custom Hot Wheels cars. is one of his things. So when he heard that we were having you on, he was quick to point out a couple of his fun builds. So yeah, pretty cool
Nice.
deal right there. Looks just like yours.
So Crawford
Just needs wires.
Crawford, PM me your address, and I will send this off to you.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
I will do.
Yeah. So
cool.
the what you're doing to your Caprice is body dropping it,
Yep.
or in the old school term, it would be
Channel.
channeling it, right?
Yep.
And
or traditional or
yeah, exactly. Traditional. You're doing a traditional body drop in that you have cut the floors out of the car and lowered the car down until the body is at the height you want, which is at the bottom of the frame, and then welding it all up, which is an incredibly simple process in principle.
just very, very time consuming.
If
It
you have a
is.
standard cab,
In practice, it is not a very simple process.
No, it
Yeah.
is not.
A whole lot of
sounds
cutting.
like it. It is. And here's why I love this project. Yeah, you don't know this, but so I have a 56 Chevy station wagon that is, when I bought it for $400, it had almost no floors in it. Okay. And so I brought it home and I bought
And ironically, didn't make the project any easier.
No, did not. I brought it home and bought a wrecked Plano, Texas police car. And this is back in 05, long time ago. I cut the floors out of the Caprice and pulled the body off of it, cut the floors out of the 56 and channeled it over it using the Caprice floors and half of the Caprice firewall. Okay.
Nice.
So it's completely the Caprice chassis under there on air ride. It lays the rockers on the ground and, all the things. So, so I know exactly what you're talking about as far as it needing to be more in the front than in the rear. For some reason,
It's
the way
very
that
drastic.
GM mounted them on the chassis, it like the body is going uphill. It's the weirdest deal. I don't know why. And it's what, it's like 2 inches, 2.5 inches, something like that.
At least.
Yeah, by the time you get to the headlights, it's 3, basically.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So you decided after body dropping mini trucks and all these other things that you were going to do it with this full size car. And it is significantly different work than doing it in the truck, isn't it?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Because you have to take in a lot of stuff into account, like the trunk and all of the other things. It's nowhere close to the same thing, really. It sounds like it's the same thing on paper, but when it comes to the work, it's miles of welding, basically, it feels like.
Oh, yeah. I've always said you can tell somebody that's really building cars by the amount of welding wire they go through. Okay.
Yeah.
And Crosby laughs because, he's got regular deliveries coming to the shop and that shit. And I'm the same way, and it sounds so daunting to cut one and do this to it. But the reality is that once you decide you're going to do it and determine where to cut it, because that's the other challenge with this Caprice is that the frame rails are all the way out to the inside of the rockers.
Yeah.
Like they're right there. And so you don't have a bunch of room to play with. It's not like channeling.
You got to be very
Ford
exact.
where the frame rails are in the middle. Yeah, it's a tough deal for sure. What's been the biggest thing that's like made you go, oh my God, why the hell am I doing this?
Mainly the weird 90s galvanized sheet metal part of it.
Ugh.
That's the worst because it makes everything take 10 times as long because you got to run the exhaust fan, which it's 20 degrees in here, makes it extremely cold. So because it's pulling all the cold air in, it's mainly that. But other than that, it's just a ton of cutting and welding.
And you're doing all this in a small garage.
It looks much larger on camera. Everybody that's watched my videos and then shown up to my house goes, "Wow, this is tight."
That's what it looks like in some of the videos, like almost like sideways, just to get through, like around the car and what you have along the
Yeah,
wall.
I use Go Jacks just to turn them in the garage. It's a 2-car garage, but it only has one door on one end, so it's laid out terribly, and it's
That's
not deep
handy.
enough for a big body.
So if enough people buy Virginia's for Lowrider shirts and what have you, are you already planning in your head a new
Yeah,
shop? Because you do a
yeah,
room, right? I mean, it looks like
yeah.
from your videos that you live
Yeah.
on a piece of property. I don't know how big it is,
It's
but
like 2 acres. I plan on building a bigger shop, and I do plan on having T-shirts available probably the beginning of summertime. That's the
nice.
plan. I've been giving them away for just subscribers and stuff like that, but
Oh
there
yeah,
will be some for sale later.
yeah. Hit me up, remind me, and I'll make you some of these
Cool.
with your logo on them. Yeah,
Oh
Awesome.
wow.
yeah. I can
He,
get you
he
that.
gets one, and I barely got a sweatshirt.
A sweatshirt. Shit, you got way more than the normal. McTaggart's
Yeah.
like, wait, what?
I was gonna say
Yeah.
I've had to make my own T-shirts for the last 6 years. What the fuck?
Yeah, you guys get swag? What?
No, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
and how dare you use the term normal around here?
yeah, exactly. That's true. Tyler Shiflett, I enjoy welding galvanized without ventilation. I don't
That's
know
a
who
friend of
Tyler
mine.
is. Is that your?
He's a
Is
friend
that
of
your buddy?
he's a buddy of mine. He's just being stupid.
Is that Tyler? Wait, who's the guy that always says it's his fault that steals the camera?
No,
and like,
that's James. That's James. Yeah.
Dude, that
Yeah.
guy's funny. That guy cracks
Yeah.
me up.
He's
Yeah,
a
I can tell
goofball.
you just sit there like waiting for him to be done. You're like, when you
Yeah.
get done talking, we can get back to this. You know?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Never trust a guy named James.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So Nostalgia Drag Racing League says body dropping. What is wrong with what it really is channeling it? It's just all era specific there, Nostalgia.
Yeah.
So the mini truck world didn't want to use channeling it and sound like old hot rodders, so they started calling them body drops. And that's where
the
it's
they them of hot rodding.
do what?
New truckers.
It's the they them of hot rodding.
Yes, exactly. It is the they them. Right. That's great.
I needed a little bit of ammunition every time I deal with you guys.
Right. Hey, so one.
It's nice to see McTaggart smiling again. I
Right?
have to acknowledge that. Yes.
So
Whatever it takes,
McTaggart-
brother. I'm all good with it.
McTaggart sent me some photos of some cool lowriders that are not what you expect the norm. Okay. And let's, your Caprice is on hydraulics, right? You've done bag stuff. You do hydraulics. Obviously, hydraulics is traditional on that thing. But here is one of the lowriders that McTaggart sent. Is this a Duster or a Demon? I mean, it's what?
It's a Dart Sport. So all three cars are owned by the same guy. I've known him on the forums for years, like probably 20 plus years at this point. He does all his work in-house in Wisconsin, so whenever his garage turns into a tornado, he's in there.
Yeah.
This started out, it looked like every other mid-70s, like later Duster Dart you've ever seen. Was just chalky red, worn, looked like a good candidate for $2,000 street machine. And this is what, like, he had started building it. The last time I saw the car was on Supremes, and then 2 years later I see this. And this
Those like Keystones now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Raiders.
Keystones, light pipes, the whole nine.
Yeah, those I would not have picked those wheels, and yet I like them. They work. So then here's his others. I do dig the Lincoln limo. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know
Lowrider limo
much about the Lincoln. All three are hydraulics, full juice.
Yeah.
What little I know about the Lincoln is just that he found a use for an old Lincoln limo, which is pretty much the only thing I could see actually doing something with. Otherwise, I would have run from that thing like the plague. This has been his long-term baby. It's I believe, 86 Fifth Avenue. He built this thing. This thing was done in on hydraulics, probably 03, 04 finished.
Oh, okay.
So that means that he was about just out of high school when this car was done, and he's undergoing a second build on it right now. Last I checked,
That's awesome.
so he's
That's
getting
awesome.
some errors. But all three every summer come out and play. The Lincoln and the Fifth Avenue. See a lot of time. The Dart's a recent build, so I don't know how much it comes in and out. And I hadn't told him I stole his photos, so sorry, Craig.
Well, and here's Crawford's Caprice, just so everybody can take a look at this thing. This is before the body drop. So I love the Supremes, dude. I gotta say, and I love it on the wires too. But I do dig Supremes. There is something about Supremes that are just rad. And you drove this thing all the time, right?
It's got to be the right car, though, and usually it is a box like a G-Body or a Caprice that can really rock Supremes well.
Yeah. And those are the old school sketchy ones that are prone to breaking. Those are from the 70s, so they've been holding up pretty good, though.
Nice.
Never mention those around Jay Lightenberg. He freaking hates those wheels.
Does he? That's
so I'm going to have to build something with Supremes on it just to make him ride in it.
Sorry, I've got spammers I'm dealing with. I got it.
Well, it's not that. I just saw Scott pipe in. I've never owned a Fifth Avenue Scott, ever. I have never owned a Fifth Avenue. I've never owned an Aspen or a Velar.
That Diplomats, which is probably what he's confused with.
Right.
They're all the same.
Well, no, the Diplomat was a 364 speed, like muscle build. But
how about a K car?
What?
How about a K car?
Don't even get me started on K cars.
There was a McLaren for like 2 days that I just flipped for like $400. He ran nice enough in.
So this is Crawford's other big build that what do you have, 100 videos on this thing probably?
I'm up to like 67 so far.
Okay. Yeah,
I go a little bit too into detail, I think.
Oh, I love this thing though. The Mazda is great. It with the 2600 sheet metal on it and everything is great. For those of you that are at home going, what the hell is 2600 sheet metal? It's the Mazda 4-wheel drive sheet metal. And so the bed and front fenders are different, considerably flared, and just an awesome look. The front bumper is also different on the 4-wheel drive. The bumper ends are. It's a great truck. What are the wheels off of? I can't remember now.
Those are like 2022 Bronco wheels.
That's right. Now, did you have to bore the centers of them to fit over the Mazda hub or no?
Actually, with the Bronco wheels, you can just bolt them right on. Surprisingly,
really?
And there's so many on Marketplace around here. I got those for $100.
Oh, really?
Jesus.
Yeah. I actually bought 2 sets. Well, I plan on polishing another set, but they're super cheap and they're always on there.
I have a Mighty Max that I'm going to build, and it's the old round body style. So it's a 80. Mine's a 85.
Dave Chappelle
or 80. Yeah, 85. But it's that thing has the big giant hubs in front. The rear isn't, but the fronts are big, and so you always got to bore everything. But I've been thinking about getting a set of the Bronco Steelies, the ones with all the holes.
Yeah.
And putting
I tried to find the 18-inch version of those, but they're harder to come by.
Yeah, because the normal are a 17, right?
Yeah.
And I'm good with that. I'm cool with the 17 on mine. I'm going to keep it sort of OG.
The funny
if I
thing
could
is
put the dog dish on them, I think it'd be cool.
Most of the California ones come with those 18s on them out here.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
yeah,
must be a rust issue or something.
There's a jillion, like you said, of the wheels for those things because everybody upgrades,
Yep.
So, so I wanted to also show another weirdo build tonight that is up our alley and belongs to a friend of ours, Matt Graves, who has got this cool Cadillac that he built into. My computer will listen to me and not do what it's trying to do right now. He does. He took a Cadillac and did what you know nobody usually would do with one of these, and made it into a pro touring machine. And it's great. Like, this thing is super rad. Was on the cover of Hot Rod magazine. LS swapped all the suspension. It's got a T56 Magnum in it. He works for American Powertrain, who's one of our sponsors. And it's just rad because it's not what people expect. And which is right up our alley, obviously. That describes everything that all of us build most of the time. So this one's got just a neat stance, and it is the weird part about this Cadillac is that underneath this thing is like B body and G body together. It's like the cool part is that for Matt is that a friend of ours, Mike Copeland, was one of the design guys at GM when they built that platform. And so he knew all of the parts that cross over. So it was pretty easy for Matt to get all the suspension he needed once he figured out what it needed. But, nobody expects that thing to be like that at all. It's sort of like the damn, the Falcon behind you, Crosby. That thing is going to be stupid. Just look at how big the wheel and tire is under the back of that thing. What's the rest of the plan for it?
427 inch Blueprint LS, TKX, Detroit steel, and God love him, Mike Hamrick at Willwood talked him into doing 14-inch brakes on it today. For what reason, I don't know.
Are those like 4 or 6 piston caliper?
6.
6?
Go big or go home. Gotta love Hamrick, but
yeah,
man, rotating.
How big is the wheel and tire on the back of that thing?
That is a 315 3520.
Jesus,
that's Viper.
That's a lot of tire, and I love it because it's like
it's
the exact
tucking lug nut like a
everything
Winnebago.
Yeah, Jesus, that is crazy.
The funny thing that where it's at right now, that's still 4 inches from the top of the bed.
Really?
Yep.
And what's the ride height going to end up being?
4.5 inches at the rocker,
That'd be good.
nothing hanging below the pinch weld, including the subframe connectors that go through the floor.
Oh, nice. Well, the good thing with that is that 4.5 inches, you can drive it anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's plenty. You can almost drive over a curb with 4.5 inches.
Well, he lives in a gated community down in Orange County, and they have, of course, the Robbie Gordon speed bumps. And I think there's, between the gate and his house, there's 3 or 4 of them that are almost as tall as the pinch weld is going to be. So we're going to make it so nothing drags.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's way good. So, Crawford, you're putting together the Caprice for mini nats, of all things.
Yeah. Yep.
I
hope to have it done.
To go to mini nats, but I can't. It's on the same weekend as a race I'm announcing, so I won't be able to make it. But yeah,
we went last year, and I actually managed to score a ticket the very last minute from another YouTuber, Lower Class Fabbed, and I didn't get to drive. They are. I didn't get a chance to drive my truck because it wasn't finished at the time, and this time I'm not going to be in the show, so I wanted to bring something that I can bring all my friends in. So that's what the Caprice is going to be for.
That's cool. Yeah, because the show is awesome, but the real deal is to go cruising.
Is the cruise? Yeah, right. Yeah, the cruising all night is the reason to go. for sure.
What
Bring in the crew
what's
cab.
the hours? When does the cruising really start there in Maggie Valley?
Is nightfall, basically. As soon as it starts to get dark, everybody
Yep.
goes out. And then we gave up at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever it was last time, and they were still driving around.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the town, from what I understand, Maggie Valley is insane with like how welcoming they are
Yeah,
and how nice they
100%.
are to the show goes.
100% accepting of anything that's going on because it brings so much business. It is packed. It's a small town, and there's, I don't know, a couple thousand people attending.
Yeah. How were they affected by the big storms and all that stuff, or no?
I saw on their Facebook account that they had got hit a little bit, but I don't think it was nearly as bad as the other places that really got it. But
Right.
I'm assuming everything's still a go because I
Yeah.
haven't heard anything.
Oh no, everybody's talking about it, so I'm
Newbern
sure it
was
is.
just there this past weekend, I believe, or past week. He did a short video of on the sidewalk of where everyone cruises. So from what I saw on that, I mean, it looked like it's good to go for the upcoming show. So.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Now we're getting the dirt on Crawford. Are you a
Wow.
Crawford
That's
Nickelback fan?
no, that's James. That's
No, James. Come on, dude.
yeah.
James is great. Should we? Well, I can send James the link if you want him in the show, but I don't know
Oh,
if that's a
up to
bad
him.
idea or not.
Yeah, that's up to him.
Just a little side note that Crawford said about getting a ticket for the show from the guys at Lower Class Fab. If you don't watch any of their videos, those guys are what I consider probably how I was in mini trucking back 20 years ago. I mean, those guys are literally like continuously will talk shit about one another, flip each other off. I mean, and it's family. They're having fun. I mean, every one of those guys is all about going over to Brandon's shop and knocking something out. I mean, all right, we're going to body drop this truck and it'll be all like on the road the next day. How those guys put out that much work is crazy.
Yeah, Brandon and his group of guys, they're good people for sure.
Yeah, I enjoy.
I had never met him before Mini Nats like in person, and they took care of me the entire time I was there.
Yeah, I want to hang out with those guys one weekend at a show. It's like I mean I know I'm the old fart and all that, but still, it's like I would love to hang out with those guys. It just reminds me of my younger days doing all this.
Yeah, and it's funny because McTaggart is the only not mini trucker on this podcast right here, and which is okay. We're not bagging on him for it. That's fine. Someday we'll get him in a mini. It'll be great. But anyway. So, mini truckers in general, like that's what we do, take care of each other, So when you put the announcement out that those guys had an extra ticket and told you to come on, I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, definitely awesome.
And what was the response to the Mazda at the show?
Everybody loved it. I didn't expect as many people to know who I was as came up to me and introduced themselves. It was a good show for sure.
Does it make you feel weird when people come up to you and know you?
Oh, 100%. It is the strangest thing. Everybody gives me crap because I'm the most antisocial person and I'm the only one that started a YouTube channel.
No way. Are you like the introvert guy that?
Yes, 100%. They
Really?
all give me crap about it, 100%. Talking to a little plastic box is way different than talking to 200 people in a day.
Right.
It's kind of funny. It's like Brian Gendro is almost the same way, and he recently started a YouTube channel with he's working on a Mercury.
Crawford's a chatty Cathy compared to Gendro.
Well, what's funny about it though is that, it's not uncommon. Like you just hit the 4,000 mark on your subscribers. I know it's been growing. It's awesome. I said, everybody that's watching, dude, seriously go subscribe. As everybody knows, it's free. Like you just click the button. It helps him out. The thing that's funny is that anybody who's started a YouTube channel and is trying to grow it, right? Like if it feels like nothing's happening and then things happen and it makes you feel good and then it feels like nothing's happening and you're not getting any traction, and then you're somewhere and some random person recognizes you and it's like the coolest thing, right? I mean, come on, I mean, at least somebody's paying attention.
Yeah, nobody knows Chad.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's one of those weird things though, because I'm kind of the same way. I'm not exactly a social person. It's easy to talk to a camera, and I know these people. We're fine.
Yeah.
But when somebody comes up and goes, "Hey, I know you from something," your initial reaction is, "How?" And then you remember,
right.
"Oh yeah, that's right. I do this." It's something that you have to adapt. Oh, okay.
And it's funny though when you say that, because the reality is, we all want, to be, successful and famous and whatever, so that people are paying attention to what we're doing. But it's different, right? Like I mean, we've all had these conversations before. Somebody comes up to you and asks you for an autograph or whatever. You're like, really? There are famous people over there. Like, go have them sign your shit. Like, what are you doing? I mean, but it's cool, man. It makes you feel good. Like I said, like at least that somebody's paying attention and somebody's watching what you're doing, and that makes it fun for sure.
Definitely.
So
you must be doing something right.
So what is next on the Caprice? What can the last episode you worked on the firewall a bunch, which is the biggest pain in the ass on the thing.
Yeah.
And so you got a bunch of work done there. What's next? What can people expect?
Chopping the front frame horns off and completing that major step to get the body to go back together. That's a big step in the process.
So for those of you at home that are, you're like, okay, why do you have to cut the frame off? Well, if you lower the body down over the chassis, and you've cut the floor out, you've lowered the body down, you've filled up the big gaps with metal, on the front, the core support now won't go down to where it needs to be, right? It's going to be however far, 3 inches or whatever too high. So you have to either notch or step or remanufacture or whatever the front frame horns to put the core support where it needs to be, so that the rest of the body all lines up together good. And man, it depends.
And you have to do it right so the bumper lines up.
Correct. Yeah. And that's the hard part. I mean, some cars it's really easy to do the front, and others you get into so much stuff trying to be in the same spot.
Crawford, does that have the 5-mile-an-hour bumpers on it?
Yep. Yeah, it has the gas struts. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
they're
makes
actually
it a little more complicated because you have to move that farther back as well.
Yeah, they're actually drained already, so I'm just going to cut them down.
Oh, okay.
And then just tuck the bumper.
The bumpers are already tucked, and they're already basically a trick is you just drill a hole in the bottom and push it in, and then weld like just a little tack weld. Yeah, that's already done. So basically, I'm just going to chop them in half because the strut at that point is trash anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the part that extends into the frame, you're just getting rid of that.
Yeah, it's not needed anymore.
I was going to do that on my Volvo because the bumper stuck out so far, but I no longer own a Volvo. So
that's right.
That's right.
He moved in a whole new realm.
His wife was thrilled to death about that, by the way.
Oh, yes, she was.
Yeah, not a good thing.
But I own another square body, though.
That's true. So, okay, Crawford, one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight was wires. So, you have talked a lot about wire wheels on your channel while working on the Ford Ranger, which is your other lowrider project. And you moved over to the Caprice because you were having a hard time getting parts for the Ranger. But you are making the Ranger into a cool lowrider mini truck that will do some 3-wheeling and some mild hopping and just be a fun toy. And you talked about a bunch about wire wheels. I grew up in Northern California, really heavy lowrider community up there, and then lived in Southern California, obviously huge lowrider community there. everybody's got their preferences and what have you. We're actually, I say we, me and Crosby are actually friends with the original family behind Dayton Wire Wheels. You may
And
not
I
know
used to
this.
work for McLean as well.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and the company that the company that owned Dayton Wire Wheels, that founded Dayton Wire Wheels, if you didn't know this, Crawford, is the family that now owns Forge Line Wheels. So Forge Line, the Pro Touring, big, like super badass forged wheels. So the Steve and Dave Shart, who own that or owned it until very recently, their dad and grandfather were Dayton Wire Wheels, so they grew up lacing wheels. Like that was and
That's awesome.
they don't hardly ever talk about it because they feel like the wires and their business don't go together. And I'm like, you guys are nuts because this is so rad history.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Dayton Wires.
Yeah.
Come on.
I tell everybody.
Right?
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. But so here's one thing though. So on the wires side, it's like a lot of things nowadays. Like people want made in America and this and that, but dude, wires are expensive. And you've been buying up some Chinese wire wheels and stuff too, for some of the projects. And I'm with you. I understand that they may not be quite as nice as a super high dollar set of Daytons or whatever, but they're a fraction of the price. And if the difference is getting your project on the road or not, then get yourself a set of cheap wires and just pay attention to them, right?
I have a set of Daytons, and they're literally $1,000 a piece. Or for something like this, that the car is always going to be beat up and rusty. It doesn't make sense to put something like that on it. It's going to get the $1,000 for a full set of wheels.
Right.
It's all case by case. Like if I had a '63 Impala or something like that, I would put the Daytons on there. But this doesn't deserve Daytons, I guess.
Right. Okay,
Chad,
so go ahead.
Bring up a picture of Gizmo.
Ooh, let me see here. Okay, I'll look for one. One other thing that I had as a question, Crawford, was do you feel like there's certain wheels that make it an absolute lowrider, and if you don't have those, then it's not a lowrider? Because there are guys that are only spokes and guys that are only Supremes, and you know what I mean? But there's a lot of different kind of lowriders out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are hardcore. It has to have spokes. It has to have hydraulics for it to be a lowrider. But if you look at the first lowrider magazine, none of them had spokes. They all had Astra Supremes, or they had Keystones, or some kind of a 5-lug wheel or a 5-spoke wheel. To me, it doesn't matter if it goes up and down. The airbags thing's kind of a touchy subject when it comes to a lot of these guys, but to me, I don't care. To me, it's still a lowrider. It's got hydraulics on it. It's got small wheels. At that point, it doesn't matter at all.
Right.
All right, that brings up a question I want to ask on that.
Yeah.
So I've kind of flirted with the idea of lowriders. I like the idea. It's not something I'm ever going to sink money into, really, because I have other things I want to do. But that's the one thing I can't wrap my head around is the tiny wheels. Like, if it were me, it would be like a Aero Coupe Caprice or a Lincoln Mark IV, Mark V. But these are big cars. Why wouldn't I run like a 15x7 on those?
It's just the look. It's just an era thing. That's all they were doing, is they were trying to figure out a way to make the car go lower. And by putting a smaller wheel on it, you didn't have to cut the fender wells and cut the inner fenders because the wheel was small enough to just tuck up inside of the fender.
Okay.
And everybody wanted to run a reversed wheel because they wanted more lip on it.
Mm-hmm.
So the smaller the wheel, the lower it goes, and you still have the lip.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just keeping the look.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys that are like super picky on, gold versus chrome versus like what combo, because one of the things that a lot of people don't realize on wire wheels, and not necessarily on the cheaper ones, but like if you get a set of Daytons, you have the option of picking whether it's chrome or gold or stainless on basically every component. So you've got the hoop of the wheel, right? The actual rim. You have the nipples, which are, at each end of the spokes.
He
Then
said
you
the
have the
nipple.
spokes, and those spokes could be twisted or diamond cut, or, I mean, like, it sounds insane, but you could have like 20 different wheels or 50
Well,
different wheels just by
you
changing
can
the
do
configuration.
painted, powder coated, gold plated, nickel plated, you name it. You can do it on a wire wheel.
Absolutely.
I would say
And
that I'm not picky at all. My banking account is picky when it comes to wire wheels. That's where the line's drawn. If it was up to James, the Ranger would have what they call them cheese balls, when the 13-inch gold gold wheels.
Yeah.
If it was up to James, I would have spent $4,000 on Chinese wheels just to have gold.
Really?
Yeah, I was just looking on Marketplace, and like the Krager True Spokes, I saw 3 sets on there, and they range anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 for a set.
Yeah, they've gone up
And those
crazy
aren't
in the last
light.
couple of years.
Those are like, oh, I'll put those on a driver or something like that. But those aren't like I would consider show quality.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but you said that the Chinese ones that you picked up for the Caprice are nicer than you honestly thought they would be, right?
Yeah, they're actually a better quality than the ones I bought for the Ranger, and they're from the same company. They must have just came from a different manufacturer in China or something. It's really weird.
And you said that those are for a 13. They're costing about $250 a wheel.
Yeah, it's right at $1,000 a set. But I actually got an email from that company today that said that the tariffs from China are going to make their product go up next month.
Right.
So.
Yep.
China's used to be $600 a set whenever I got into low riding. They were way cheaper back in the day, but they just keep climbing and climbing and climbing.
Yeah, the next couple of months is going to be interesting to what tariffs are going to do to the aftermarket.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. There's a lot of stuff that's up in the air, right now, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's all up in the air. People are freaking out. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Brad, did you find a picture of Gizmo?
Yeah, I just put it up. Yep.
Okay, so a little history behind this. The reason why it has blank wheels on it is I wanted to put Dayton wire wheels on it, but the front tires are actually motorcycle tires.
Right.
So when I approached them about this, they basically sent me information back saying, we'll do this is what they're going to cost, blah, blah, blah. And then they told me that they wanted to put not for highway use on the front wheels in 1-inch tall letters on the outside of the wheel. And I told them to go, I'm going to use the term nicely, go fly a kite.
Yeah.
And that's why it has those wheels on it.
Because they didn't want to do a wheel that tall and narrow?
No.
Or is it because of the tire?
They did the motorcycle tire.
Okay. Gotcha. Wow.
And I'm like, this car's not going to go around a racetrack. Is not going. Nope, we won't do it.
Yeah.
And if we do them, they're going to come with not for highway use.
Was that a 19 or 21-inch tire?
21.
So they had 21-inch wires then?
Yeah.
But why didn't you just run a motorcycle wheel?
That is a motorcycle wheel. It's just.
Well, I understand that, but a wire wheel.
A bike wire, yeah.
How would I mount it? It had Willwood 6-piston brakes on it. So
well, I didn't know you had
because
those.
Again, Hamrick had a good sense of humor about that. So
right.
I got 3.5, so he sent me 6 pistons, and snickering and laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah. Hold on.
Well, you had 6 pistons that far back?
It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't like it was the 80s. I think I've got a picture. The rears were like a 12-inch rotor, and the fronts
We're
were
13s.
I've got a picture somewhere here. Okay, here we go. Hold on.
Yeah, but that car was supposed to have wires on,
Yeah.
Front and rear.
front and rear.
It's funny because I've never owned a lowrider, quote unquote. I mean, I've done all the everything slammed known to man, but and I am the air ride guy for sure. But yeah, so there's the inside of that wheel.
Yeah, and aluminum dropped I-beam axle too that weighed 7 pounds.
That's from Super Bell, right?
Yeah, the big
Yep.
Super Bell S in the middle.
I was gonna say, I see the logo. That's cool. Okay, so here's the question for the group. So, like I said, I haven't owned a lowrider before. If I were going to own a lowrider, like if I was going to have my dream, well, I know. I mean, technically, yes. I mean, if I put the right wheels on Daphne's
everybody's
car,
got different definitions on what an actual lowrider is, but
yeah, but I mean, if I put the right wheels on Daphne's car, it would look like it, or even Rusty, either one.
Yep.
You know, yeah. And I've thought about that. I'll just have to wait until Crawford's throwing some wheels away, and then I'll just bump some. Okay, so what?
Or his boy makes him buy the real wheels.
Yeah, exactly. So what? Okay, we'll start with you, McTaggart. What would be your dream lowrider if you could just like wish for it and it would just show up in the driveway all badass? What would it be?
69 Impala Fastback with the hideaway headlight grill.
Ooh,
black,
good choice.
Fully rechrome everything. Dead stock look outside with a good like PX9 black Jeep. Fully restored interior. Like kind of like custom aftermarket gauges where it's like they look stock but they act electronic.
Yep.
What color?
What, the car?
Yeah.
It would be a black and chrome.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, all black paint, all chrome accessories. It would basically be a stock appearing lowrider. I don't know what the proper term would be. OG, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right. So Wickman, what would yours be?
I just sent you the picture of it.
Oh, yes, I see it. Okay, I'm going to share this then. So Wickman, not only do I have all right, here we go. So this is the one that Wickman says he would have. So that is an Olds, right?
Yeah.
Dynamic?
Yeah. What is that? Like a 65?
64, 60. Yeah. I want to say 64, 65, but yeah.
Okay.
The 59 to 64 Buick Olds Pontiacs, I'm really totally digging now just because they're oddballs. And a guy out of Dallas by the name of Cope Kessler, he has a couple of them just because, again, they're oddballs. And I mean, he takes them to good guy shows and just completely cleans houses with them.
I dig it. It's that familiar but different kind of thing.
Exactly. I mean, they're GM platform, but they're not. They're not the Chevrolet.
Impala,
Right.
yeah.
The only thing I would have done different on that car, just like the Caprices, I would have taken the lower and upper and lower rear control arms and add about 3/4 of an inch to it.
Yeah, at least. Yep,
I'm with you. The center of the wheel when it's laid.
Yep. And if we're being nitpicky,
other than that, the car's bitching.
Oh, the car's bitching, like period.
But being a chassis guy, that's the first thing that comes to my eye.
Yeah, me too. It needs the rear axle moved back. I'm not big on shaving the door handles on 60s cars, so I would prefer the door handle, but I can get away with it. That wire itself is not my favorite wire.
But it looks good on the car.
It's a bitchin' car. There's no doubt. So, okay, so Crosby, what would yours be?
Ironically, not what everybody would think. It would be a 62 Impala wagon.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I still regret selling my 61 wagon.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something cool about them that they just. I mean, it's like the cool crew cab, bar hopper. Everybody jump in the car and let's go.
Yeah,
Right.
I know. There was one weekend, Courtney. When I was living in Texas, Courtney came down and
Right,
was shooting a bunch of stuff for street trucks right before street trucks started. He shot a bunch of
right.
features for like over a week, and we took my wagon down to the beach one night, and there was 8 of us in that car, just bombing down Interstate 45 down to Galveston, because we were actually scouting locations that night for the next day for him to shoot a bunch of features. But
Well,
yeah,
how I met L.A. Dave is when we went and traded the Sporty for the what was it, the Galaxy wagon
yeah,
that he got.
the 60, what was that, 62 Galaxy
Yeah,
wagon.
yeah.
Dude, I'm in
There
love
you
with
go.
this car right here. I mean,
Yep.
I'm in, like all in.
Yeah,
Take
yeah.
my
That's
money.
perfect right there.
It is
I mean,
perfect. Yes.
Oh, funny story about L.A. Dave's wagon that he had.
yeah.
That car was actually in the opening sequence of the movie JFK that had Kevin Costner.
Oh, that's right, huh? I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah, that was the ambulance in the beginning of the movie.
Well, did you hear how we went and picked that thing up? The story behind that?
I don't remember, but I know he got it like on the cheap because it was like he knew like one of the prop masters or something like that.
No. How Courtney got it?
Oh, how Courtney? Oh God.
Courtney called me up on probably midday on a Thursday. Hey, want to go on a road trip? And I go, yeah, let's go. Where are we going? I don't know yet. So he borrowed a truck from the Ford Press Project, Santini's trailer. We stopped at the AM/PM in Del Taco and hauled ass, and we met L.A. Dave in Kent, Texas, at that stupid little gas station.
Yeah.
Unloaded the car, unloaded the bike, loaded the car on the trailer, and hauled ass. But on the way there, we rescued somebody going to run to the sun on the side of the road in a 57 Chevy and would not take any money from this guy helping him fix his car. And we're like, no, don't give us money. Road karma, road karma.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, this weekend is the big I forgot what anniversary Deuce reunion in Havasu. So I can't imagine like how many cars are out there trolling Interstate 10 and Interstate 40 right now.
Where'd you find this, Chad?
Dude, I literally just did a search, a Google search for 1962 Impala wagon lowrider, and that came up, and it is perfect.
I hate you right now. You just put bad things into my head.
I know.
Yeah, that
Okay,
color
so
combo.
Crawford, what would your dream lowrider, if money wasn't an object, and like I said, you could just snap your fingers and it would show up, what would it be?
It's actually a pretty easily obtainable one. It's just a 78, 79 Monte Carlo. The same thing that's in Training Day. Ever since that movie came out, that has been burned in my mind. Everyone that I've gone to look at on Marketplace, because I live in the Rust Belt, every one of them's rotted. I've just been waiting for the clean one.
Well, if you ever want to find one, let me know. I can find you one.
I was going to say, it's
I'm
not
in
hard
Cali.
in Southern California.
Yeah, in Cali, we got nice ones out here. And
the other thing, they're not expensive.
They're not the early 381. You can get anything. Cutlass, Monty,
G-bodies in Cali are not as big as everybody seems to think they are.
No, and
they are here.
They're not out here.
Stupid.
I know a friend of mine a few years ago, he built a dead nuts replica of the Training Day Monte Carlo.
That's what I'd like to do.
And literally finished it, went to a show, and like sold it that evening.
What year are you looking for?
It's 78, 79. As long as it has those tail lights, that's all I want.
Yeah.
Something about them
Okay.
tail lights.
Yeah.
The
Hit me up. Message me, and I'll look around out here. I guarantee
Okay.
I can find you a cheap one.
Well, yeah, you are in Ontario, Pomona, so I know there's plenty of them around there.
Yep,
Oh,
I
yeah.
am. I am in the hood.
See,
there are lots of them.
now you all got
I
my
got
head
the
spinning
lowrider
with that
dude
deal.
tattooed on my left forearm. So
Yeah, that's
I got
true.
I got on my left shoulder.
Like,
There you go.
I'm the
now
token
the
white
second
boy
one
of
I'd
Southern
build,
California.
That's awesome.
Like now, I'm picturing the second I'd build like a mid-late 70s Lincoln Mark with the
Oh,
split grill.
dude, a Lincoln Mark 8 or something would be cool, I think.
No, not the Mark 8. That's the Arrowbird. Like a Mark 4 or Mark 5, the 70.
Yeah.
I'm with McTaggart. The fours.
You're
All the
okay,
dairy
hold on.
boys out here
Like a 77 Mark
had
5,
those.
something like that.
Then when
Yep.
you cut
Mark-
the bumper, and
Yeah, you
cut
split
out
the
middle
bumper
part of
and let the
bumper
grill
and get the
show.
grill down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Back in the
hold
day,
on.
C10s and Mark IV Lincolns were the thing.
Mhm.
Here you go.
I was
got
watching
you
a
one.
video yesterday or today. This guy was interviewing people at a lowrider show, and this guy was like, "Yeah, I wanted I forgot what year Lincoln Mark IV," and he's like, "I just wanted he was the second owner of it, and it was like, yeah, I wanted one of those because I think it's like the perfect lowrider." And
There you
they
go.
basically zoomed out on it, and it was that tan cream color with like the white leather interior. Oh god,
Mhm.
that thing was just fucking gangster.
Because the thing about those, a 72 Mark IV with a small bumper still has kind of a muscle look. You can work with it. Otherwise, they're too heavy. They're too underpowered. But they are perfect for a lowrider.
Yeah.
I actually put hydraulics on the Grand Marquis version of that car. It's like the same chassis platform.
No, because that's the same chassis as a Torino LTD2 and the Thunderbird Cougar. A Grand
Okay.
Marquis is the biggest one. And,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
The pictures that I'm looking at on my phone are about this big, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to tell.
well, I mean, that's an intermediate to Ford, and still, that thing's I think 3 feet longer than my Charger is. My Charger is not a small car.
I would if I were looking for, or if I were snapping my fingers and getting my dream lowrider, mine would be a 1964 Impala convertible. And that would be, for me, I like convertibles. I have a 69 Camaro convertible. And so I'm kind of in love with the
Yeah, he just
convertible.
loves the wind blowing through his hair.
I do. I don't have a lot of it, but what I got likes the wind. Okay.
His beard's like this.
It splits quite nicely. It's fine. It's aerodynamic. This one right here, I could be down with that car right there. The only thing I'm not sure on is the skirts. I waffle between skirts or no skirts.
I don't like
I am
skirts.
not. If
I never have.
If it's newer than 57, I don't like skirts. I can understand, but anything.
Nope, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Chad, I sent you a picture of the infamous $500 lowrider that a number of us did.
Oh yes, I see it.
There are a backstory on the car. There's a couple individuals that I will keep them unnamed, but they actually work for Counts Customs now and regulars on the TV show. And we got this car for, I want to say, $350.
And that's at Jethro's house, isn't it?
No, that was actually Rob Rodell's shop, Underground Customs in south of Houston.
What was that?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was
this,
the Jeep.
It hurts my heart because I'm a G-body wagon guy, but at the same time, I would totally have driven around with all of you idiots in this thing No
that
question.
was Walmart contact paper on the side for the wood grain,
Nice.
and the candy green paint actually had 13 $1 bills in the paint that Ryan Evans did along with Ghetto Bob. We cut the roof off of it.
Oh, of course, Ghetto Bob had to have something to do with that.
Yeah, exactly. And we took we cut the springs, and we ended up selling it for, I forgot what we sold it for, but we didn't have it around that long because it had to sit outside the shop. And then we realized, all right, we don't have a top, we don't have any tarps, and then it rains. Being South Houston, I mean, it rains like every other day. So it's like,
Oh yeah, you guys are all fucking geniuses.
but yeah, that was
Houston.
that was
Who would have thunk it's gonna rain there?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was a V6 car that had bad freeze plugs that we swapped out on it and just drove it around. I think the
Lycan
place
says he would do a 53 Studebaker Commander coupe. I can honestly say I've never seen one made into a lowrider.
I can't.
that would be
I don't
interesting
know
to
how
see.
you
I've seen about everything you can think of made into a lowrider, and
Yeah,
that
but
one I
not
haven't
that.
That would be interesting.
Commander, I just picture some kind of land speed style vehicle. The end.
kind of, yeah. Commander wouldn't be my first choice for that either. But
Oh, no, wait. No, is the Commander the bullet nose? I'm thinking more like Hawk.
You're
No,
thinking
it's
of
the
Hawk
Hawk
or the
looking one.
Lark.
You're right. Yes.
Okay. 'Cause now I'm
So-
picturing a bullet nose
and
as a
it's-
lowrider, and that's horrifying.
Here's the thing about these. So I'm going to put one up on the screen that's really rad. But the big deal with the Studebakers, like that you see at Bonneville and everything else, Lycan, if you could see this, you would love this thing that I'm about to share, which is a Studebaker Commander, and it is like pea soup green meets pewter,
Oh,
and it's on wires, and the rockers are laid on the ground, and the front balance.
Okay.
This is, I mean, it's a rendering, but man, it's gorgeous.
Okay.
can I change my mind?
Yeah, right.
I changed my mind, but now I understand.
Don't you always?
Wow,
Yeah, that thing's
was
pretty
better.
cool.
that's kind of cars like I'd be hitting Troy Japania up and say, "Here's a blank check. Start building it."
Oh, Christ. Can you imagine?
You can. It'll only
Yeah.
cost
Oh,
you
yeah.
about $700.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a
Yeah,
seven-figure car.
if you're that lucky to get away with that.
Yeah, only 700.
Yeah. Now we all went from thinking that's a weird idea, like, into thinking it's awesome. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So Crawford, what's next? What are you? I know you got more to do on the Caprice, and when you're done with the Caprice, are we going back to the Ranger or what?
It depends on how much people yell at me. Everybody wants to see me paint the Mazda, and the Mazda needs to get done. But
What are you going to
it's
do
really,
as far as paint on the Mazda? Do you want to let that out or
I
no?
wanna- yeah, I actually painted the cab already, so the cab's already been completely stripped, painted, and it's done. It's going to be the exact same color with the same factory graphics down the side. I think.
Okay,
I want
that's
to
what I
keep that.
thought, but I didn't want to. Yeah, okay. So
I
you've
like to
not
do
changed your mind on that, and I love it. So
No.
it's metallic gray, like that
Yep.
charcoal metallic, or medium, I guess. That's what
Yep.
color my first mini truck was. It was a Mitsubishi, but same kind of color. Because you're about stuff looking like it might have come that way.
Yeah, just like slight differences. Like you look at it, and you're like, it kind of looks off, but it's not really. I don't know.
Yeah,
Somewhere in
I love
between.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And then I would say I have a lot of other projects. I just need time, basically. I got the van, which will be another body dropped project. I got the Ranger and the Mazda and a bunch of other ones that aren't even shown yet. I have a 62 Ranchero, Model A, all kinds of stuff back there.
Nice.
It'd be
Nice.
like
I have to admit, when you're outside the garage, I'm pausing the video to see the other shit that's in the background. So
I'll
I'm that
FaceTime you
guy.
one day and walk around the yard.
Yeah,
Are we
yeah,
talking
absolutely.
a Puddin's Fab Shop someday Model A sort of thing, or
Yeah, it not nearly as nice, but just I already built it 3 or 4 years ago. I already built a frame for it, and it's pretty much ready to go back together. It's just I get distracted. The ADD thing just takes over, and I change my mind so much. So I pulled it off the frame
I
table. Pulled the
wouldn't
frame
know
table
anything
outside.
about that.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this though. The van. So the van is I'm going to refer to it as a square body Chevy van. It's
Yeah,
what year is it? It's a
it's like a
80s or something.
'95.
Okay, it is that late.
Yeah.
That's true because those
Nin-
vans
G
still went
series.
Yeah,
way late.
yeah,
Yeah,
they ran them way up. Yeah.
yeah. So it's a Chevrolet G Series van.
Yep.
Now, what's interesting on those, I didn't realize this. I just never paid attention until you were showing it. So that thing uses a bolt-in cross member like every square body on the planet and all that.
It's just a
Except,
really big unibody.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
unibody. I didn't realize that those trucks are a unibody.
Even all the
So
way up to the C30 or the G30s and up, or like the big box trucks are still unibody.
really,
I scrapped one last summer.
yeah. So do you so in that scenario, you're gonna cut out basically all the subframe mounts and move
Mm.
them up in order to
Well,
move the suspension, but the floor will stay where it is, except in the rear where you're gonna move the suspension up, or what?
that one's gonna get hollowed out and just basically redone. It's gonna be a shell, and then I have an independent suspension rear out of a 240, so it'll be
Yeah.
5 lug. I'm trying to keep it all the same. I was trying to buy a front end from a guy. I just need to find the right front end that's narrow enough to where I can basically float it 1/2 inch off the ground. But I already have the rear.
Yeah. Well, and
It's a
if
ton of
it's
work.
if it's a Nissan 240 or whatever rear, then that's
Mm.
5 on 4.5.
Yeah.
I believe, right? So
Yeah,
maybe
I have a set of baby billets.
Yeah, maybe like a Toyota front end, like Toyota mini truck front end would be good.
Yeah, I debated that also. It's just those
Yeah.
are really, really small. Like
They
the
are.
controller, I'm sure, like this big. So
That's true. Yeah, that
the
is
the
true.
van isn't as heavy as you think it is. Surprisingly, like if you look up a stock Toyota versus the van, it's not thousands of pounds difference. So it could work.
Yeah. And you said you're running a set of billets on it?
I got some baby billets, old school, like 15-inch wide. Just I don't know if I got the prime wheels or Eagles or whatever. They're all the same hammers,
Yeah.
basically.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
My
awesome.
my first vehicle was an '80s van, and I had prime wheels on it. And I'm trying to replicate what I wanted to do when I was 17 or 16
Yeah.
or whatever, basically.
That's exactly what I want to do with mine. When I got this Mighty Max and I'm going to build it, and I want to do what I didn't have the skill or the money to do then. I still don't have any money, but I know how to build shit now. So at
Yeah.
least I can do that part. But
He didn't
it's
have the skill either, but
hey, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. You know what skill I do
That
have?
was going so good.
wow,
kiss my ass.
loaded.
I can
You
click
got
the
one
button.
talent, and that's it.
Oh
That's
god.
all you have in your quiver.
Yeah, that's what I got tonight. So okay, so we're gonna go Caprice, finish it up, then you're going back to the Ranger.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
Yeah.
you've got the 3-link parts now, right? For it and
Yeah.
everything?
Yep. I actually got those recently, so the Ranger would probably be the quickest to get in and out.
Yeah. I think so. I got to tell you, that thing surprised me. I'm a diehard Chevrolet guy to the core. My minis, I'm down with whatever, except I'm just not a Ford guy at all. So those Rangers just never did anything for me. That thing seemed so grandpa perfect. And then
Yeah.
you started working on it, and it was like there were so many little shitty things on that thing.
Mainly the engine. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, dude.
What motor's in it, Crawford?
The crappy 2.9, but it was a crappy 2.9 that basically made charcoal inside of itself. It was bad.
It's like
It
my
had
dad
so
did.
much carbon in it, it was unreal.
The 2.9
Yeah, it was-
and the 5-speed were like probably the best drivetrain combos that ever came in the Ford Ranger.
It runs great.
The 3.0s were hot garbage. The 4.0s were good for power, and the automatics were just transmissions they were all garbage. So
Did you? I don't remember you doing. Did you do the rev it up and squirt water through it trick, Crawford?
No, I didn't get to that point. It was more like a fill it up with diesel and let it sit for a few days to dissolve the gunk and then drain it, fill it, drain it. It took days to get all that crap out of there.
Oh,
And I don't even know if it's out of there. It's as good as it's gonna get.
Right. Well, here's one. Since you've gotten a bunch out of it, if you
Take a squirt bottle.
unhook the exhaust, so you're not blowing all the shit through the exhaust, just rev it up to like 2,500, and literally just a squirt bottle of water and squirt water in the top of it, and it's going to try and die, and just squirt it and let it off, and then squirt it and let it off, and it will blow insane amounts of shit out of the tailpipe. Like all the carbon in it. And if you were to take it apart after that, it'll look like you like hot tanked everything in the engine. Like it's so clean.
It'll look brand new.
Yeah, it cleans all the carbon off the valves and the pistons and everything like really, really well. So if you end up needing it, do it,
Yeah, my issue was basically chisel and a hammer with a shop vac to get it out of the valve train.
Yeah.
It was bad.
That was insane how much the oil was coked up in the valve cover.
Yeah.
I was
the rest of the truck's so nice, you would never think.
Yeah.
That's what you call a Pennzoil truck.
Yeah, I learned that about using Pennzoil oil. That was
When you take the valve cover off and the whole valve train is the shape of the valve cover, that's a Pennzoil motor.
Okay, me and Freiberger, when we were doing Car Junkie TV, we had a small block that we took apart that we were putting together for a dyno test video and all this stuff. And I am not kidding you. Somewhere there's video of this. I pulled the valve cover off and it was perfectly smooth and shiny in the entire shape of the inside of the valve cover. So it looked like it still had the valve cover on it when the valve cover was off of it. I had never in my life seen one that bad. And Freiberger hadn't either. We were just, blown
The first
away.
one I saw was a 389 Pontiac, and it was from day one a Pennzoil motor. And when Sonny pulled the valve cover off it, I was in utter amazement of that is not even possible and still run.
Yeah.
Because it's got paraffin wax in it.
LA Dave has chiming in. He says, my 62 Galaxy wagon was like that with the stock 352. It had 80,000 miles on it, and you could only see the top of the rockers. It's funny because we think, low mileage car or whatever. But the reality is if nobody did any maintenance on it, it's going to suck even if it only has 25,000 miles on it.
That is what I hate about nowadays is like, this car only has 1,000 miles on it and it's like 45 years old. There's no way in hell I would drive one of those because every hose and all that shit is basically deteriorated from never being cycled or any of that stuff.
Yep.
The shit is just so brittle, it's just going to fall apart. And that's all it's going to be good for now. It's just sitting there being a show queen.
Yeah, ta-da. You open up every oil leak humanely possible. Your coolant's going to be leaking. God knows what the inside of the radiator looks like after all that.
Yeah. Tyler, you asked what the yellow Camaro was. That is the Crusher Camaro. And we did tons of stuff with it. Obviously, Freiberger, the magazine did tons of stuff with it. Then we did. Freiberger's owned it for years and years and years. I put the big block in it the first time, the blower on it the first time, all that stuff. It's got I think it has the LS in it now. I don't remember.
No, it's got a small block in it.
Yeah, he's got the small block in it.
Yeah,
it's got a blueprint motor in it, doesn't it?
The first Power Tour spec.
It's got a small block with a tunnel ram on it.
Yeah, from Blueprint or something, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, short rib saying 400 cubic inch small block. Yeah, it's a Blueprint 400. This is the same motor. Well, not anymore, but same motor as in Daphne's car. But we put heads and cam and all that on her.
Speaking of Freiberger, I'm kind of curious what all he bought when Motor Trend shut down. I've heard rumors, but it's like I'm not putting anything out there till he actually says what he got. But I mean,
yeah.
I know the number is 11. That's
he ended up with. I know he ended up with 11 cars. Dave ended up with 3 more than he already had gotten. Finnegan got a couple. I don't know.
Finnegan got 3.
Okay, and I don't know. I know that others got others as well, but I don't know all of them. But yeah, Freiberger, he got 11.
I just want to know where Stubby Bob went.
Stubby Bob went to Finnegan.
Yeah, Stubby Bob
Finnegan got it?
Yeah, Finnegan was supposed to be getting Stubby Bob, the Rotson, and Vet Cart.
Yep.
Yeah, and Derek. Yeah, James. Derek bought some as well. Yes.
Derek bought 9. He had a video out last Friday of him going through
majority of his roadworthy rescue projects, basically.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't know if
I'm watching plenty of YouTube right now, so I'm actually almost burnt out on YouTube. I've been watching.
I'm going to shift to porn.
Crawford, the Wickman is like our most injured friend all the time. He's in the hospital like all the time, and so he literally fell down the stairs.
You just say about Wickman being injured while Crosby's having an actual fucking accident.
I know, right? Exactly.
Holy shit, Crosby.
But yeah, so Wickman fell down the stairs in the snow and broke all the shit that surrounds his ankle.
Basically, between the ankle and my knee is basically destroyed.
Yeah, and so he's all gimpy and bent. Now he's like stuck at home, can't walk for 3 months, and all the things. So yeah,
I've been in a walking boot. Bad. I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow to see if I can get the stitches out. I'm not sure on that, but yeah, it's been a month now, and I've got another 6 weeks.
Just on this injury, I mean, Wickham is our crash test dummy with the luck of the losers.
And not even going to talk about the right hand, what I went through last summer with that. So.
Yeah, I was going to say he had to get his hand surgery done and all these things. I was looking for a foot picture.
We can't pull over any farther.
They're all on text. Send me a picture of the thing and I'll put it up.
Do you want the ankle in the ambulance shot?
Sure. Whatever. Okay. Yeah. James is asking for pics of the broken foot. We want to see your foot. See? So, yeah.
Hold on the internet.
No, we don't.
Nobody's paying you.
Dude, Mikey in the house. Ooh, Mikey, we need to talk, by the way. Hit me up after the show. If you're, not doing anything more important. Okay. LA Dave says just tell him to replace it with a corpse foot. Yeah.
Ron from Performance Carburetor just joined us.
Oh, nice.
What's happening?
What is up, dude?
Well, same old thing, man.
Same old thing, different day. Working on shit.
Yep, same thing. Trying to stay above water. You know how it goes.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Okay,
here's Wickman's ankle.
Start building motorcycles.
Yeah, we're building motorcycles now. We're giving up on cars.
I would not recommend that.
You're right.
I mean, it seems like a great idea because they're smaller and take up less room, and then it all goes sideways.
Yeah, I don't build it for anybody else. I'll build it for myself. If somebody wants it after that, that's all good.
Okay, that photo there. All right, my leg was straight on the stretcher. To give you an idea. Okay, now think about having your leg straight, then trying to rotate your foot. You can't.
Wow.
So basically, my foot being at 45 degrees, you can kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
yeah, it's fine.
And remind everybody how you did this, Wickman.
falling down the stairs in the snow.
Ice, snow, and gravity.
That's why I live
Yeah.
in California.
Yes. Amen,
Oh,
brother.
like-
Amen,
So
brother.
you're like Homer Simpson falling off the freaking mountain. Oh, no.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I just sent 3 more photos to Chad,
God.
and I'll say,
Images.
Man,
Ooh. What? Holy crap. Okay, you got to see this. This is insane. Wow.
I told
Dude,
you,
you are so screwed up.
go big or go home.
Why did you say
Jesus.
snow? It just started snowing.
Look at that.
Jesus, no.
Mm.
Right?
I'm sure it'll be fine.
It'll buff out.
Put Vaseline on it. Go away.
It ain't gonna buff out.
Yeah.
He's gonna be able to tell
Okay.
the weather.
This last
That's
photo
a
here.
cotter pin. I could have fixed
No.
you up with that. Look at it. It is. That's a
That's a
cotter
mechanic
pin.
wire.
Like
A pipe chain.
It's like a chain link.
No,
Yeah.
It is a chain link and then a cotter pin. I'm
it is
telling you.
medical grade baling wire.
Dude, we could have totally fixed you up for a fraction of whatever those bastards charged you. I know me. I've seen me do it. We could TIG weld some shit in there and then be ready to go. You'd be way more bionic if we did
That
it.
looks like a poor
Yeah,
man's
but you gotta give him the
safety
drugs
wire
to
right
back
there.
up your medical handiwork.
When I had my appointment last week, he was talking about that X-ray, and I'm like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Baling wire." And I'm like, "Okay, really? No." I'm like, "Yeah, it's medical grade baling wire. We use it to basically tie it together."
See, James, the other James is, dude, you're my people right here. Because he says, man, we could have welded you up. I know a good welder. I do too. A bunch of us are good welders.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, we could have put it together like the surgical team.
My
Me,
youngest-
Crawford, and Crosby could have welded him up good.
Yeah,
My
we
youngest
could've put the
daughter, who's
ground
actually
on your tongue.
My youngest daughter is actually a phenomenal TIG welder, and she
That's
said
true.
when I'm gone, and I'm cremated. She's taking all the hardware and actually going to make something out of it and attach it to the urn.
I love it.
You're gonna be your own trophy, really?
Yeah,
I love it. Tyler's right, dude. Self-tappers would have been cheaper and quicker.
He's not picturing his doctor dropping the mask to reveal Derek.
the surgery was almost 5 hours long to repair
I
it.
can't wait until I'm in Virginia to hang out with Crawford and his boys because these guys are fun. I can tell already. And now, are you guys drinkers or not, or what?
No, I've never had alcohol before in my life, so they
Your
they
whole
get
life?
down some.
We can
Yeah,
change
they-
that for you.
You're
They do
like
it occasionally,
Freiberger.
but
Me
Except-
neither.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Freiberger drinks beer, but he's never done a drug in his whole life. Not one
Neither
drug.
have I.
Never smoked weed. Never any of it.
I find that like that's him growing up in Hollywood in the 80s.
I
don't see
know.
how that's
That's
possible.
why it's weird. Like,
I
I mean,
grew up in
I'm
Southern
not saying
California.
this
I've
to
never-
be bad, but
I've never even
like,
smoked
I
pot.
expect that Freiberger would have been hanging out at the whiskey doing lines of
Exactly.
blow off of a stripper's ass. Like, I mean, that's like, I
He's
mean,
going to the Roxy, he's going to the whiskey in the 80s watching hair metal bands. You know that stuff is basically like just like all over the place.
it's this is the Kentucky, the mini truck state says you better have an RC toy to play with in Virginia. I got you. No worries.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's become a new addiction.
Okay. Now think about it. Okay, Crawford's over in that part of Virginia, and that's all part of like Eastern North Carolina and South Carolina and all that. How's the moonshine over there? I mean, I know Crawford doesn't
Well,
drink.
Crawford doesn't know because he doesn't drink.
That's what I'm saying. It's like he's got to know someone.
Oh, I can get you some.
Yeah.
I don't know what it tastes like, but I can get it for you.
How's the bodywork on the Corvette?
Do what?
I said that's like asking how's the bodywork on the Corvette?
Oh shit.
That's so messed up, dude.
Damn.
That's good though. I like it.
The sad thing is, Mike probably does better body work than I do.
So as we're an hour and a half into this deal, where else where are you going to be for people to see you, Crawford, besides Mini Nats? You got any other shows you're going to this year?
We have some local shows that I usually attend here lately, but probably not unless I get invited out. I don't have anything lined up just yet.
All right. You
There's a
doing Power
show-
Tour or anything like that this year?
I don't have anything powerful. I
It
don't
doesn't
own
matter.
anything. I don't own
99%
anything
of
fast.
people don't either. They
I'm
just
Yeah.
curious,
cruise.
Crawford, your friends. I mean, are they into all minis, or are they GM trucks, or full-size?
Everything. The guy that has been commenting, Tyler has a turbo Fox body, and then James is a big diesel guy. He's got a fast diesel. Like all of my friends have had mini trucks for the most part, but they're all over the place.
Okay.
And then I was the only one that's been into lowriders out of all of them, which is even weirder.
Really?
Do the Hermes.
So none of the rest of the guys are into lowriders.
No, they haven't owned any. They
Wow.
enjoy being around it, but they've had a lot of
Yeah.
mini trucks, a lot of bagged full sizes and stuff, but no lowriders.
I'll be darned.
Well, if you're
Yeah, I
looking
had to be different.
particular rust free, let me know. We can find
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be cool.
I mean, that's what's neat about having a group of friends like that, because it's like everyone
Oh,
is
yeah.
like is branching out all over the place. So basically, if someone has an issue with something, whether it be a daily driver or what, you can give someone a call and say, "Hey, either I can do it or I've got someone that can do it." So it's like,
But beware, if you ask for somebody to find something out here rust free, you're gonna find it quicker than you might want to. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't necessarily need more projects. I have tons of them.
Yeah. We're all that way.
Nothing.
Everybody else that watches the show normally knows this, but like Crawford, I own a 1955 Series 1 Chevrolet school bus. Okay. So, that's the body style of like a 47 to 54, right?
And when
But halfway
it gets done, Jesus will ride in it.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, that's not even a thing. But I own the school bus because I own a trailer big enough to haul it. I didn't need it. It was a good deal, but it wasn't a, oh my God, I can't live without it deal, right?
I have a lot of those.
But I own a 40-foot gooseneck trailer. So if I had to pay somebody to haul it home, I wouldn't own the school bus because I wouldn't have paid somebody to haul it.
but
I'm an idiot. I own
you
a
have
big
you have a C30 crew cab dually that you took the bed off to put a flatbed on.
Yes.
Okay, and
To be able to tow the trailer. It was during COVID. I couldn't get a hitch, but I could get the flatbed for cheap. So that's why it has the flatbed on.
But it's like usually you have a flatbed of like if you
owned a Volvo wagon. What's your point?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You wanted to blend in Colorado.
I own a lot of things, like a lot of things.
I can understand if you're hauling hay and have a cattle dog to ride on the
dude.
bed.
I was building the shop. I needed it for that. The thing will hold 4 pallets.
You got to be like all those guys that's down in Hillsboro.
When your truck has been featured in a Jerry Wayne Longmire clip.
That's true.
That is the height of the greatness for me right now. So.
Oh, Tyler, you're so cute. Tyler says, I don't mean to brag, but I have daily a Scion TC with 225,000 original miles.
That's his girl's car.
No, but that's cute.
You admit, I mean,
ask him what the tag
here's
says.
why this is cute. That's cute, Tyler,
What is
because
the tag?
I have a 1994 Civic hatch, EG hatch. It's one of only 2 imports I own. It has 439,000 miles and has had the head rebuilt one time, and that's all it's ever had. It's in the shop right now in the air with no suspension on it because all of the suspension is so wore out on it that I'm literally replacing everything. Everything is getting replaced on it. But of course, I had to put coilovers on it so it'll sit lower. And
Chad, can you play that video I sent you earlier today before I sent the Hot Wheels Caprice?
Freaking.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I saw this and I didn't know what it was.
Tell them what you regularly and what what's his name? Richard used to haul in that thing.
Oh, yeah. Like I have this Civic EG hatch. I mean, it's a, your average 94. It's a VX, so it's like super rare and all this crap, but it's just an EG hatch. And I have hauled numerous big block Chevrolets and LS engines in it. I mean, like a bunch. It's had a complete iron-headed big block Chevrolet, a complete LS, and a LS short block in it at one time.
I've been in it.
It doesn't know it's not a 1-ton truck. It doesn't give a shit, right? And it's a ride.
But if Chad ever comes to an abrupt stop with all that stuff in it, you're gonna know the last thing.
I was gonna say it's not that the car doesn't give a shit; it's Chad doesn't give a shit.
Hey, hold on. Here's the deal, Crosby. You can't come to a very abrupt stop with that much shit in it.
Well, there is that.
So it's safe.
Comes in front of you and it goes like this, everything follows.
Dude, it has
like
the rear brakes
off of a mountain bike.
The brake rotor or drum is this big, dude. They are literally an 8-inch drum brake on the rear of this thing. And I bought drilled and slotted rotors for the front with ceramic pads because they were cheaper than the not drilled and slotted.
Done that a few times.
Just for another time,
right?
Well, no, the Impala, the struts are shot on the Impala. It was cheaper for me to buy the ZZP strut coilover kit by like $600 compared to just factory replacement struts.
Oh my god!
No shit.
Well, that's the reason why the back in Fast and Furious with Jesse and the Jetta, and they had that disc on there to cover the tiny little stock drums that were on it. So people say, "Oh, it doesn't have any brakes." No, that's just a piece of aluminum with holes drilled in it to cover up the tiny little drums on it.
Oh, you mean the stainless wheel covers?
Yeah.
No, it had like a dust disc that people used to put over.
Right.
It had one of those, but it was drilled out to look like a drilled and crossed rotor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were an aftermarket deal you could buy in the 80s and 90s. Yeah.
On the Jetta from Fast and Furious 1, there's no caliper on it. It's literally just a disc behind the wheel, making it look like it had a big brake kit.
Yes.
You want to know the sad part about that is? Who was the one that designed that thing?
Probably you.
No way.
Yeah. Empire. I did.
That Empire? That's
funny. I believe it.
Okay, Crawford, we're getting word that your nickname is Toretto.
James just says the most random things. None of it makes sense.
I love James. James, you're my dude. I love you. It's great. Okay, so we're going to play this video that Wickman wants me to play, and then we'll talk about it.
This is basically what Chad needs to do with his Honda.
Oh, your ass. Okay, well, whatever. Here we go.
Your ass.
Oh, hold on. I'm trying.
Meanwhile, back in the jungle.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of like the whole McTaggart thing smiling again.
On it now. The entire is basically done. I don't plan on making any changes other than the welds. These, just on this side, needs trimmed. I think that I messed up this alignment. You can tell how far out it is. Solar panels are in. Extension is on. Rear garnish taken care of. But look at this side here. So much more flush. You can see that it ramps inward. I think screwed up on the other side.
You know, hey, whoever's excited about their ride, as long as they're as excited about their ride as I am about mine, it's okay. But I'm not doing any of those things to mine.
That's all bad Chad right
Kudos to them for trying, but I've had several rounds of opiate addiction. I still couldn't picture that shit.
What kind of fentanyl induced? Oh, you gotta be in to think that's good. Oh my god, that is too good. Don't do drugs, boys and girls.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're afraid.
Speaking of Toretto.
Okay, now I'm being told you had a Civic wagon that was stanced.
Yeah, I've had a lot of Civics over the years, a lot of Integras.
There you go.
I did a lot of trading when I was younger because I didn't have money to buy anything. So I went through over 100 cars before I turned 30, probably.
No way.
Yeah, it was really, really bad. It was like weekly.
Really? You were just trading.
Yeah, you can. James will probably comment. It was, hey man, we're going to Maryland to pick up this car. I'm trading this car away from this, and it was constant. That's all we had to do. We didn't have any money.
Yeah,
It was just
I
trades.
love it.
That's
I love that.
Shit.
Yeah, when I was younger, my mom and dad didn't know who was pulling the driveway. It was one of my friends or it was me with a different car.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah,
I love that.
Like
Yeah, that's
30 cars before I was, I don't know, 22.
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, that's Tom Refurb right now with all his shit. Which, if that was my kid, I'd be kicking his ass out with all the way that the yard and the driveways look right now. With how much shit he has.
Where at?
Tom's Refurb on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
He is basically, he has a whole other channel on Patreon of just other vehicles that no one knows about, along with
That's
his
awesome.
YouTube channel with all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you see all this stuff in the background. It's like, how and why? It's
Right.
just like, he's got two of the XJ8s, I think a 2-door and a 4-door, like the Jaguar Motor Trend one. That one of them actually has one of the small blowers on it. C10 trucks, the OBS. Oh no, the OBS truck's gone. The 99 to 07s. He's got 2 or 3 of those. All the Mustangs. He's got, I think, 4 or 5 Mustangs now. So yeah, the other guys know that what's up with that.
James says Tom's Refurb is my spirit animal.
He's a trip.
Tyler says, wish Crawford had his leather vest on right now.
Oh no.
Never take it off.
No, there's a picture going around where he used to be a roommate of mine, and he came home with a 4XL when he should have been wearing a large, and I could not stop laughing, and I give him crap about it all the time.
That's awesome.
I'll have to send it to you.
That is great.
No, and LA Dave is another one with a yard full of stuff that
I wouldn't either. I have a whole slab where my house build is supposed to happen that is covered in a school bus, a Mitsubishi Mighty Max, a 56 Chevy, 2 car trailers, an RV trailer, my square body Suburban, the Chevette, the dually, another car trailer.
And
I forgot about
school
the
bus. Yeah.
The Chevette.
I forgot about the Chevette too until the other day when I realized I still had it sitting there. No, LA Dave, I do not want to buy anything. All right. Crawford, thank you for joining us tonight, dude. We appreciate it. I know this is out of your comfort zone and not your normal. But dude, seriously, it means the world to us. We appreciate it. It was cool to be able to talk about some of your stuff.
Appreciate you having me on.
And get the boys involved. You're welcome anytime when you got any big news or you got whatever, or you just want to hang out. Let us know.
We'll have to have James on here next time.
Yeah, we'll get him on.
I thought he was.
While Chad and LA Dave are in the same spot at the same time, Chad, you're going to be in Baton Rouge coming up. Still, is that still?
Not when you think, but yes.
Okay, so that's changing though.
Yeah, we're getting ready to make an announcement tomorrow on the event.
Okay, so when you're in Baton Rouge, LA Dave is on the other side of Baton Rouge in Walker. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so basically, if you get some time,
yes,
you can do the short drive over to his place and go visit his compound. What we shall say.
Absolutely, I'm all in. I am all in. All right, boys. Well, again, I appreciate you guys, and Crawford, thank you for coming and hanging out with us.
Thank you,
idiots, but we appreciate it. I will definitely come to Virginia. I travel all the time, so I'm on the road 40 plus weekends a year for events. So I'll hit you up and I'll come visit for sure. And I got a bunch of friends in Maryland too. So
I'm right down the road from Maryland.
Yeah.
My daughter lives in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So there's a show down there you guys go to or something like that. And I could use an excuse to go visit her as well and take her to something. So
nice.
Cool deal.
All right, boys. Well, I appreciate it. Right. Thank you to everybody that was tuned in tonight. We appreciate you guys being here, and we'll see you next time on PowerShift 2 weeks from now. And don't forget, Triple B, Beards, Burnouts, and Beer will be next Wednesday night at 7:30. So, again, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time. See ya.
See ya.